All right. So this kind of speech is one of my least favorite speeches. Not Karen's speech, these disruptive speeches. Because I feel I'm always so scared as president that...
Really?
Yeah. I'm scared. That the guests here are like, oh my God, I don't want to join something like this. But thankfully, Clara had explained that we're not usually like this, so we kind of prepare them for it. Now, I think I'll give some suggestions for that later. But for Karen, I thought she did a great job. She was one of the better ones that dealt with the audience that I've seen. She didn't really get pulled away or distracted by a lot of the people. Partially because she ignored those idiots. What? Was I looking at you? And I liked, for instance, how she told Lester, who wasn't that disruptive, but she kind of gave a direction on how to handle it and said, we have a Q&A. Oh, she lied. We have a Q&A later. We have a Q&A later, and then later she walked off. But at least it felt like she was very much in control of her speech. And overall, she did pretty good there. I do have some tips, though. I think some fun ways that you could have dealt with it. One is I think whenever there's an issue, instead of ignoring it, I think it's good if we can address it. You have to kind of look at it, talk about it, and deal with it. I think if you ignore it for the audience, it's more distracting for the audience than for you, right? So I think it's important that we address the problem instead of ignoring the problem. Number two, one thing you could have done, because your speech, those stories are so, dramatic. You could have set the scene. And you could set the scene by first slowing down and setting the scene of where, and that really sucks in the audience. And for people who might want to be distracting, they become non-distracting because they're sucked in and they're listening to your speech. So making it more dramatic and interesting will help you. Please slow down on that. And the other thing is you can always ask the audience for help, right? So whoever's sitting next to Paul, you can say, hey, Alex, if he disrupts again, can you do this? Can you put your hand on his shoulder? Can you do this? Can you put tape? Can you put tape on his mouth, right?
Where's that knife going?
Yeah, where's that little knife? So before speech, also one thing you could do is create an atmosphere where there's some competition and a reason for them to really listen. So you can create a competition where like prizes. At the end, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to select 5 people. I'm going to ask these questions. And if you answer it correctly, that I'll give you a prize. I think that will help people listen closely. But I think the most important thing, this is a suggestion for the club. Next time we have these kind of speeches, to not be overly distracting. Let's be realistic. Just a couple restarting. We can set them up, and I think that would be a lot more successful for the speaker. All right, General Evaluator.